Today was very much a landmark in the life of AP McCoy. Today he rode his 4,000th winner over the jumps, and that was aboard Mountain Tunes. We've got Rebecca Curtis on the other end of the line. Good evening, Rebecca.
Good evening, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you, and thank you very much for taking time out to join us this evening. Obviously, being associated with AP, I mean, how do you feel today? We know how AP feels, but how do you feel?
I'm just delighted, to be honest, that he's finally done it. It's been a long old showdown up till today, so I was just praying today would be his day, and thankfully it was. So, I mean, coming to the last, I wasn't just sure was he going to get it, but seeing him come up the hill there and just beat that horse, I was absolutely delighted for him.
And it was a typical AP ride. He looks beat, he's never beat, and he comes on the run in and he gets past them. I mean, from your point of view, what does it mean to have a jockey like AP ride one of your horses?
It means everything to the yard. I mean, I feel very privileged to have him sort of on our horses. He gives great feedback. We know exactly where to go with him next. And obviously, you know, our yard's mainly full of young horses. You kind of know pretty much straight away how good they are with him on board, you know.
Regarding the feedback, sorry, Luke here, Rebecca.
Right.
Regarding the feedback, is there a specific kind of horse that you would put AP on?
I mean, anything, you know, we'd fancy to run well. I wouldn't put him on something I thought was going to be tailed off or had no chance. You know, we want to try and get as many winners as possible for him and obviously for the yard. But, you know, even, I suppose, the odd moderate one, it's great just to have his opinion as to what trips they need, how good they are, you know, where you go next with them. He's great for that.
And I suspect, Rebecca, that he gives younger horses a very good education as well, going round the likes of Foss Lass, which obviously is one of your local courses there. Yeah,
he does, and I mean, a lot, you know, some people's opinions, AP's hard on horses and, you know, gives them all a hard ride, but that's completely not true. You know, if a horse gets beaten or he's on a young horse, he'll normally just let them coast home. He normally looks after young horses. That's one thing, you know, we do like about him.
I know from today, I mean, obviously everyone's celebrating the fact that he's reached such a landmark, but I suspect AP will take it in his stride and go for the next achievement, and maybe 5 even.
He will. That's what I worried about. You know, he's got to 4,000 now. You just wonder what his next target will be, because he's so ambitious, and I suppose he's riding as good now as he ever was. So I can't see him giving up for a while. And like I said, you just wonder what his next target will be now.
Hi Rebecca, it's Billy here. Do you give AP instructions on the horse, or do you trust him to kind of know what to do?
I mean, you'd always try and help him if he's on something that stays well. Obviously, we'll tell him ride it handy, or, you know, you kind of know the horses at home, how they like to be ridden and how they jump and what temperament they are. So you'd always just give a little bit of advice to help him along the way. But normally he's a pretty good judge himself in a race and position a horse where he feels best, really.
And can I just ask you a final question before we just touch on at Fisher's Cross? When was the first sort of meeting with AP? I mean, do you remember the year it was, and maybe the first set of horses that he rode? 2007-8, was it around about that time?
Yeah, so well, I mainly started off with a few bad handicappers from Ireland, I guess, which, you know, when a few of them were winning, Dave Roberts obviously put him on anything I'd fancy, and then we started to get more sort of young horses into the yard with, you know, more potential and stuff, and he was great to ride them, then our bumper horses, and I suppose that's where it all started then. Okay,
and just touching on at Fisher's Cross, obviously we've drawn at the weekend at Wetherby.
Yeah.
Everything okay on that front? And it's such an exciting horse to have, you know, with Cheltenham in mind.
Yeah, it was a real shame on Saturday there. It was just a silly little thing he did. He just came down the ramp, and it was obviously dark when we got there the night before in Wetherby, and as he just stepped off the bottom of the ramp, he saw his own shadow and just spooked and just went down on one knee. But very, very superficial cuts. He was completely sound, but obviously we didn't want to risk running him that day. He was back on the gallops the following morning, so he should be perfect now for Newbury, touch wood.
Okay, well, thank you very much indeed, and I hope that you have a good evening, and thank you very much for your time this evening.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you, all the best.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.